What if I told you that just one man's radical philosophy might be shaping how Russia sees the world, destabilizing the entire planet, and changing how we wage war?
The U.S. airstrikes on Iran's nuclear facilities marks the beginning of World War III.
He is willing the planet to the brink of a third world war. Imagine a figure who views liberal democracy not just as an opposing political system, but as a sickness, a decay of the human spirit. This is a man who dreams of a vast Eurasian empire ruled not by modern principles, but by an archaic trinity of tradition, hierarchy, and myth. Some whisper he's the shadowy figure influencing Vladimir Putin, the intellectual architect behind the Kremlin's geopolitical ambitions. They call him Putin's brain, while others, more starkly, label him a fascist mystic. But who is Aleksandr Dugin really, and why do some refer to him as the modern Rasputin, a controversial figure wielding unseen influence over a powerful leader? Unveiling Dugin, a life forged in counter-modernity. To truly answer these questions, we must delve into 4 crucial chapters of his life. Dugin isn't merely an individual, he embodies a complete, albeit unsettling, worldview. And if we wish to grasp the trajectory of Russia's future, we must first comprehend the past Dugin fervently seeks to resurrect. Born in 1962, Dugin's early life unfolded in Moscow, the son of a KGB colonel. While the Soviet system offered a degree of security and conformity, Dugin found himself profoundly alienated. His rebellion wasn't a longing for Western liberalism, as was common among many dissidents of his era. Instead, he gravitated towards something far older, far darker, and deeply esoteric. By his 20s, Dugin had plunged headfirst into Moscow's clandestine occult underground. Here, he began translating the forbidden texts of figures like Julius Evola, an infamous Italian fascist and radical spiritual traditionalist, whose works were, and largely remain, banned in most countries. Dugin was captivated by mysticism, esotericism, Nazism's more mystical elements, and the lost sacred orders of antiquity. This intellectual journey led to his expulsion from the Moscow Aviation Institute, not for overt political dissent, but for disseminating this very forbidden knowledge. While his peers might have been studying Marx or Lenin, Dugin was poring over the writings of mystics and monarchists, engaging in a rebellion that was less political and more profoundly metaphysical. As the Soviet Union began its dramatic collapse, Dugin perceived not just the end of an era, but a monumental opportunity. His ambition wasn't simply to rebuild Russia, but to fundamentally remake the entire world in accordance with his own radical vision. The blueprint for empire, the foundations of geopolitics. In 1997, Dugin unveiled his magnum opus, The Foundations of Geopolitics, the geopolitical future of Russia. This text proved so influential that it was reportedly integrated into the curricula of Russian military academies for years, shaping the strategic thinking of a generation. The book laid out a chillingly ambitious vision. Russia's inherent destiny was unequivocally imperial. It argued that Russia must systematically dismantle the Atlanticist world, a term encompassing the United States, NATO, and liberal democratic Europe. In its place, Dugin envisioned a sprawling new Eurasian order stretching geographically from Dublin to Vladivostok. But how was this colossal geopolitical shift to be achieved? Not solely through overt military force, Dugin asserted. His strategy included a multifaceted approach: disinformation campaigns, subversive political activities, strategic alliances with powers like Germany and Iran to break Western unity, fomenting separatist movements within the United States, and, crucially, the systematic breakup of Ukraine. For Dugin, geopolitics was never just about controlling physical territory or resources. It was, at its core, a form of spiritual warfare, a cosmic struggle for the very soul of civilization. While Dugin has never held formal political office within the Russian government, his intellectual fingerprints are unmistakably present across key moments in Russia's contemporary foreign policy, from the annexation of Crimea in 2014 to Russia's intervention in Syria, and perhaps most profoundly in the very ideological underpinnings of the full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022. The metaphysical heart of Dugin's vision, revolutionary traditionalism. To fully grasp what this proposed Eurasian order is truly based upon, we must delve deeper into the complex and often disturbing metaphysics that animate Dugin's thought. At the very core of Dugin's worldview lies perennialism. This is the belief that all ancient civilizations across cultures and continents once shared a fundamental universal sacred truth. In this idyllic past, the world was governed by a profound cosmic order, a golden age of harmony and spiritual enlightenment. However, according to this belief, over time, this primordial order was tragically corrupted. Hierarchies, both social and spiritual, were flattened and inverted. The sacred was systematically replaced by the profane. Dugin, echoing ancient Hindu and Greek philosophical traditions, believes we now exist in the Kali Yuga, a dark age characterized by conflict, moral decay, and spiritual decline. For Dugin, this isn't merely an abstract philosophical concept or a metaphor. It is a terrifyingly real, tangible state of affairs. He perceives modernity, with its emphasis on democracy, secularism, individualism, and even feminism, as the undeniable signs of this catastrophic collapse, the very essence of the Kali Yuga. And his radical solution, a violent, cataclysmic return to the Golden Age. This cannot be achieved through incremental reforms or polite political discourse. It demands a complete societal collapse and subsequent rebirth. To construct this vision, Dugin draws upon a diverse and often contradictory array of sources: the esotericism of René Guénon, the radical traditionalism of Julius Evola, the mystical currents within Russian Orthodox Christianity, and ancient pagan myths. All are woven into a sprawling, intricate worldview that is simultaneously deeply ancient and unsettlingly relevant in its contemporary application. This is far from conventional, conservative politics. It is a potent apocalyptic ideology best described as revolutionary traditionalism. And Dugin unequivocally desires Russia to be its sword, the vanguard of this global spiritual revolution. The price of a worldview? Blood and sacrifice. In 2014, when Russia annexed Crimea, Dugin didn't just celebrate, he vociferously urged Putin to go further, to seize more. When the conflict erupted in the Donbass region of eastern Ukraine, his rhetoric became even more extreme. In one infamous interview, he chillingly declared, "Kill, kill, kill the Ukrainians. I say this as a professor." His vision of a Eurasian empire, it became painfully clear, was not to be forged through diplomatic treaties or peaceful integration, but built with blood. Then, in August 2022, tragedy, or perhaps for Dugin, a grim form of sacrifice, struck. His daughter, Daria Dugina, a prominent far-right commentator and ardent proponent of his ideas, was killed in a car bomb attack outside Moscow. While the perpetrators remain disputed, many believe Dugin himself was the intended target. Eyewitnesses reported seeing him weep at the scene, devastated by the loss. Yet others suggested he might view her death through the lens of his own mystical worldview, as a sacrificial offering in the cosmic struggle. Regardless, the very war he had so fervently called for had at last reached into the sanctuary of his own family. Despite this profound personal loss, Dugin's ideas have not receded into the shadows. Instead, they appear to be spreading, not only within Russia's intellectual and political circles, but also across Europe and America, seeping into online subcultures and thriving amidst global geopolitical chaos. The enigma of influence, prophet or charlatan? So, who is Aleksandr Dugin truly? Is he merely a fringe philosopher, an obscure academic whose radical theories hold little sway? Is he a modern-day Rasputin, a shadowy puppet master whispering insidious ideas into the ear of a powerful leader? Or is he something far more significant and terrifying, a prophet of a coming darkness, advocating for a global return to archaic myth, rigid hierarchy, and the chilling concept of sacred violence?
While there haven't yet been direct nuclear strikes, it's only a matter of time. The Pandora's box of nuclear weapons has been opened.